Dear readers, there are words that over time cease to be merely words and become special symbols of public consciousness, a kind of bell that gets rung whenever people need a quick, loud, and morally impeccable explanation of where evil lies. One such word has long been corruption. It is spoken as though it were the very essence of society's illness, as though all one has to do is point a finger at it, drag another face, another office, another envelope, another deal into the light, and suddenly the picture of the world becomes understandable again, simple and convenient. Here is the bad man. Here is his violation. Here is his punishment. Here is proof that the system is alive, severe, and ultimately still stands on the side of order. And it is precisely at this point where most people feel a natural sense of relief, where it seems that evil has been named, caught, and put against the wall, that the main trick of this long-running performance begins. Because for years, society has been encouraged to look not at the mechanism of extraction itself, but at those who cross the established boundaries too crudely, too stupidly, too visibly. People are shown not the structure, but the episode, not the riverbed, but the splash, not the system, but the violator of the system. And this is gradually drilled into public consciousness as an almost religious formula. If a corrupt official is caught, then the state is cleansing itself. If arrests are happening, then there is a struggle. If there is a struggle, then order exists. But there is one question in this scheme that is almost never asked aloud, because it shatters the entire elegant stage set. Who established the very rules within which one may take without violating them, within which one may extract from the common good in a way that is called not robbery but governance? This is where the real dividing line lies, not between honesty and dishonesty as people are taught to believe, but between visible violation and legalized extraction, between the crude bribe that attracts attention and is therefore convenient for public moral theater, and that long, vague, diffused movement of money spread across articles, agencies, programs, funds, commissions, projects, and payrolls, which is almost never called theft precisely because it is carefully wrapped in legality. People are shown a low or mid-level official who took 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, and they are immediately told that this is the terrible threat to the state, the ulcer that must be fought ruthlessly and mercilessly. Yet those same people are almost never shown how millions and billions disappear for years through bloated bureaucracies, endlessly multiplying structures, necessary expansions, new levels of coordination, new offices, new critical initiatives, through projects that do not sustain life, but merely demand ever more money for their own continued existence. And the most cynical part is that all of this happens not in alleyways or through suitcases exchanged at night, but in broad daylight, in official language, under state seals, beneath the proper slogans, beneath the proud word democracy, which in this construction serves not as a symbol of freedom, but as a shield, because it conceals the procedure itself, the form itself, the legality of what is taking place, as though legality alone was sufficient justification for any configuration of extraction. People are effectively told, look, we are not like those barbaric places where people steal crudely and openly. We are a respectable country. Everything here is properly documented. Everything follows procedure. We have courts, commissions, inspections, reports, and if someone really crosses the line, we will catch him, imprison him, and thereby prove that the system is healthy. And it is at this moment that the most dangerous idea is quietly slipped into people's minds, that evil is only what violates the law, while everything carried out according to the law is automatically no longer evil. But law is not the sky, not rain, not the changing of the seasons. Laws are written by people. Laws are formulated by those who sit inside the system. Law reflects not abstract justice, but real interests, balances of power, distributions of benefit. And therefore law can become not a wall against plunder, but the most convenient way to plunder without risking being called a plunderer. And then a truly harsh picture emerges. If someone takes money outside the procedure, he is a criminal. If enormous flows of money disappear for years through the procedure into feeding the apparatus itself, that is called state activity. If someone violates the form, he is condemned. If the form itself is designed so that the common good dissolves within the administrative machine, that is called complexity of governance, necessity, development, modernization, responsible management. In other words, people are offered the following morality. Taking is forbidden, if you take outside our rules. But if you learn how to package extraction through the proper channels, through commissions, budgets, staffing schedules, priority initiatives, and justified expenditures, then you are no longer a thief, but a respected statesman, a serious administrator, a man of the system. This is the first great substitution without which the entire construction could not survive a single day. Society is taught that corruption is the whole problem, when in reality, corruption, in the form in which it is sold to the masses, is primarily a convenient storefront, a convenient bone for public discussion, a convenient lightning rod onto which public anger is diverted, so that beyond the brightly illuminated circle, the main thing remains untouched: the legal, continuous, stable redistribution of the common good in favor of a closed environment that knows how to call its own feeding governing the state. And therefore, when someone says, "We are fighting corruption, look how harshly we punish violators," the first question should not be how many people were caught today, but something else entirely. What exactly within the legal norm itself is considered permissible? How much may be siphoned from the common pot? How much may be burned through endless bureaucracies? How much may be dispersed into the internal needs of the system without crossing the boundaries of what is allowed, and therefore without ever appearing on screen as another corruption case? Because it is precisely where permitted extraction begins that the fairy tale ends. The fairy tale that evil is only bribery. It is there that the real philosophy of the entire construction reveals itself. Let society discuss the violator, so long as society never touches the legal order itself, within which plunder has long since learned to appear neat, official, shameless, and at the same time perfectly respectable on the surface.